Howdy team, we're going to work on Access 2 today and we'll walk you through it. I've already downloaded my files. Get yours ready. When I copied and downloaded the files, do notice Access Grader's there. We also have an Excel file and we have an instructions file. So we'll be taking this Excel file and uploading it to our Access file. Let's get started. Access 2 is called Morris Arbitorium, and so we are getting ready to work with that today. Do remember, we talked about this during Chapter 1, that you need to enable content, and you need to make sure you know where you saved your desktop file. All right, create a new table in Design View using the name Donations. We're going to come to the third tab to create, call it Table. And then look, we have a table right here, but we want to rename it. Once we save it, we are asked to rename it. And so we're going to call that Donations. To be careful as you work on this assignment, there's lots of activities that all start with the same letter. So you want to make sure that you spell your fields correctly. So the table is now named Donations. We're asked to add a primary key field called Donation ID. So we're going to click on the ID field. Then I right-click on that ID field and come down to Rename Field. Notice our Donation ID is all one word with no spaces and 3 capitals. We do want to stick to that. And normally you do not put spaces in field names. All right. So next, we are asked to add a field. Oh, I see. So we're asked to add with number data type and a field size of long integer. Now, these first item we did in Datasheet View. We're now going to come over to View and switch to Design. In Design View, we're going to come to Data Type, and again, it told us to use the data type number. So we don't want auto number, we want just number. And a field size of long integer, we have that right here. Add the following field names to the table. So we're going to go click underneath Donation ID and type Donor ID. And then we'll click beneath that and add Plant ID. And again, make sure you have no spaces and you spell it correctly. And you also have the correct capitalization. We also need donation date. And then we need donation amount. It asks for a specific order, and we have done that. Now the instructions ask us to change the data type for donor ID and plant ID to number. So we come up here, we're still in Design View, remember? And we want the donor ID and plant ID to be fields. So we click on the data type column, and we come over here and click short checks and change that by hitting the arrow to number, and do the same thing with the plant ID. Then the donation date field should be date and time. That makes sense. We have a date and time for when people donated. And then the data type for donation amount should be currency. So that's going to come back with a dollar symbol and a decimal point. Great job on number 3. Step 4 has asked us to view the table, so we're in the Donations table. It should say Donations there. In Datasheet View, so we're going to come over here to View. We're going to click and go back to Datasheet. And if things aren't looking right, you do want to save that table. It's probably your view. Datasheet View looks more like Excel. Design View lets you set up the table in a way it's going to be more printable and more viewable. So again, we're going to go back to Datasheet View and enter this information. I'm going to start with Donation ID I'm going to type 1. I'm going to hit tab. Donor ID is number 24. And do note, I'm in a row making changes, so that's why my pencil is showing. Once I enter out of that row and I complete the task, that pencil will be gone and Access will save it. I'm going to go 3-17-2018 and tab. Oops, what did I do? Oh, I did too many dates. Sorry about that. There we go, 2018. And I'm going to hit another tab and enter the donation amount of 120. And because we click currency for that field, it will automatically give us a $ and a decimal. Now I'm going to pause the video and fill in the rest of the table. You get to typing and we'll come back here at the end of step 4. Okay, we've got step 4 completed and we've entered all the information in our donations table. I just wanted to check with you one last time and make sure you completed step 4. Step 5 asks us to sort the records in the donation table, we're still there, by donation amount in descending order. So descending is that Z to A format. We're going to come up here to donation amount. We're going to click the pull down arrow. We're going to go smallest to largest, and that biggest donation is $150. Now it asks us to save the table. We click the tab, we right click and hit save. We right click and hit close, and we've completed step 5. Step 6, import the downloaded file. So this is that Excel file we downloaded, workbook, as a new table into our current database. We're going to use the wizard and specify that first rows contain column headings. So let's start and go ahead and click the external data tab, go to new data source. You're going to go from file, and again we're going from an Excel file that we've already downloaded, and we're going to browse our computer. Mine happens to be on the desktop, and that desktop location is inside to access, so I'm going to double click that, and here it is. It's only going to show me Excel files because that's what I selected, my AO2 plants. I double click and it has been uploaded. Now we want to import the source data into a new table, and that's exactly what we've been asked to do. So we click OK. And here we show worksheet, and we don't need to make any changes. We go next, and here we make sure that first column row contains column headings in our wizard, and we go next. We want to set plant ID as our primary field to be indexed with no duplicates. But look right now we have yes duplicates. We need to say no duplicates in the index. And then the next thing we go to is we want to choose our primary key, and that will be plant ID. You can see you have these other names available. And we go next, and we want to import to table plants, so we won't change the name. We'll say finish, and we do not need to import our steps, so we do not click this, and say close. And there it is. Our plant table is right here waiting for us to get started. View the plant table in design view. You can double click and change this to design view, or you can right click your plant table and say open in design view. Either way works. And now it says change the field size for plant ID, that's right here, to long integer. So we're going to click on our field size, come over here to the chevron, change to long integer, save the table. So we're going to right click the plant tab and hit save. And it says some data will be lost, but that's okay. We say yes, and then we close that table.